just going to record it just so I don't have to, like, scramble and take a million notes.
No, that's fine.
But basically, I'm in a public relations class, and we're trying to interview just, like, different people in the Lansing area about a certain topic that you're interested in, and I guess I'm mostly interested in, like, social media, but I guess I'll just start off with what your role is here at the magazine.
Well, I'm the publications director at M3 Group, and so I oversee Capillary Women's Lifestyle Magazine and the Greater Lansing Business Monthly. Okay. But because we're a relatively small organization, we have about like 20 employees, and we have full service branding. I also oversee the public relations team, which includes our social media coordinator.
Awesome.
And then I oversee Virginia, who's the events coordinator. And basically, that kind of makes sense because most of our events are tied in with the publications in a way. But, like, for instance, we have a client who does this craft beer festival, and they're not tied into the publications, but it just makes sense that that's part of my world, too. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess with overseeing, like, the social media director, like, what do you exactly, like, I guess direct her what to do, like, what the most effective strategy?
It's a guy, his name's Jake, and he's a social media coordinator here, and basically what happens is, he's really, like, the hands-on. He's the one that when we have clients contract us to keep their social media up to date, he's the one that develops the plan. And then we review it with the client and get it approved. And then he's the one that, if this is what the client's paying for, he's the one that updates their social media accounts daily, weekly, twice weekly, whatever it is in their contract. So basically how he plays in is we have account executives here who it's their job to get new business and to maintain our current clients and stuff. And so what they'll do is they'll have a meeting with someone, and social media inevitably comes up in this day and age.
Definitely.
And they'll kind of say, it depends, depending on the client, you know, like what's their need, what's their knowledge, and then we kind of go from there. We put a proposal together of like, this is what we would do for you. Okay. And based on what you've told us your needs are and what you can handle, and then we kind of go from there. Perfect. And then once it's agreed upon, then it's Jake's job to kind of implement that.
Okay. Could you maybe give me like an example of a client that you worked for?
Well,
that was maybe really effective, and maybe one that wasn't so effective. And
we've had really good luck with social media. I mean, in the most basic sense, we use it every day to promote various stories and happenings and contests within the publications.
Definitely.
So that's an internal client, and that's the way we use it. And an external client, for instance, we used both a combination of paid and unpaid Facebook promotions for YMCA, and we had great success with that. So much so, we were doing it for one specific branch, and now they've expanded it to include like the child care at this one particular branch. So so it's like people knew about the why and that, but when they have a specific thing they want to promote, that's when they can approach us and say, okay, here's the one specific thing that we need to help promote this time around. We also just did a really successful campaign with an individual who was Ellie's Place holds like an annual contest for the Ultimate Spartan Challenge is what it's called. And essentially like it's like people make it in the running, and then they try to gather votes, and it costs like $5 to vote or whatever. So all of the money collected goes to Ellie's Place, so it's a great cause. But there's still like a winner crowned, and like they get like all of these things. Yeah. And so we had this individual's family come to us and say, you know, he really is the ultimate Spartan, and we really want to like honor him in this way. Of course, it's also twofold, because then this donation goes to Ellie's Place. So we did a combination of Facebook promotions. We also did like constant contact direct mails, and he ended up winning and raising like $17,000. Wow, that's great. So it was like a huge, and the next person under him was like $7,000. Nice. So it was like a huge success, and that kind of just, we did a plan of. We did a lot of original photography with him around campus in various spots, and submitted photos, and just like I said, like Jake and the account executive kind of worked together to say like, okay, we have a short amount of time. What's our strategy? And they came up with a plan and implemented it.
I guess going back to when a client tells you specifically what they want, do you do like research to kind of, I guess, target what audience you're trying to reach out to?
Yeah, definitely. In a way? And it's actually, it's pretty rare, and maybe it's just people say this is exactly what I want. I mean, they really come to us for their recommendations. So when we're putting together the proposal and the plan, there's a lot of research that goes into who we're targeting and what our plan is. Does it include paid promotion? Does it does it not? I mean, and if it does include that, because that's, you know, like a pay-per-click, like what kind of thing are we gonna recommend for them?
Yeah. How do you do that research exactly? Like, do you use social media through that, or like what tools, I guess, do you use?
And that again depends on the client and the size of the project. I mean, we will go as far as to do the street surveys, mailed surveys, or sometimes it's just some internal online research, and we subscribe to different services that can kind of help us with that too. But yeah, it kind of depends.
Yeah, definitely. No, it really does depend. I guess maybe because you were talking about paid advertising, one thing that we've been discussing a lot is how even just like newspaper print and like I guess is like decreasing just because of the boom of social media. Do you agree that print is still relevant in a way to do advertising and paying for like that print?
Yeah. Of course I agree because I edit 2 magazines.
Exactly.
But it's not just that. I mean, M3 Group's whole approach is integration. We don't believe that you can do one thing. So even though we happen to have 2 magazines in-house, we would never recommend that someone spend their entire budget advertising in our 2 magazines. I mean, it could benefit us, but it's really not going to benefit the client, and so that's never our recommendation. Integration is our entire approach from everything, which is why we are full service, because then we can say, okay, we can not only help you with your newspaper advertising because we have a media buyer. We can help you with your social media plan. We can help you with your outdoor. We can help you with your commercials.
Nice, kind of all around.
Yeah, everything. Because we don't think that you should put all of your money into social media or all of your money into print or billboards. No, it's an integration, and it's what our founder calls the drip, drip, drip effect, where you are kind of hitting people in different ways. And
definitely
I think probably right now, because social media is new, I think there's probably research that probably shows that newspaper advertising has gone down, but I think it's just things change.
Oh yeah,
like
I completely agree.
Yeah, I come from like a really long line of newspaper family, like really old, to the point where they were like, when radio started, they said newspaper was dead, and TV, and so it just is, kind of.
It is kind of just the time. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
I guess more internally for the magazine, how you use social media a lot. I was kind of looking at like your Twitter and Facebook account. I know I've written on your Facebook wall for Downtown Lansing.
Yeah.
But I guess who controls it and how much, or how maybe too much posting or too little posting. I guess what you think is effective to get like your magazine out there, I guess, and known.
Well, Jake's the one that runs those accounts, and we post daily to Facebook, and I believe he posts a few times to Twitter because that's different. I mean, he has like a few scheduled. And I mean, like I said, we use that to promote different articles, but we also use it to promote either ticket sales for an event we're having, or we just ran a contest with Wharton Center where you could enter to win like 4 tickets to see something with your girlfriend.
Nice.
And so we'll use it to promote that. I mean, I agree. We have a, for whoever we're doing it for. I mean, we have a strategy in place so that there's not like 4 posts in a row, and they're not too wordy, and it's not our goal to be hidden. We want people to engage and to see and for it to reach. And so what we do is once a month, we have a company-wide meeting where Jake prepares social media reports on all our internal accounts, and we kind of see like how we're doing with likes and shares and impressions and all of that, and then see like how we can tweak that.
Definitely.
So we revisit it. I mean, he's visiting it every day and paying attention to it. As an organization, we revisit it like once a month and see how we're doing.
Cool. Yeah, I know that we do that like every month too. We try and like get all of our analytics together and see what is doing well and what isn't doing well. Yeah. You're really hitting all my questions really quick and concisely. It's good. I guess one of my questions is sometimes, I guess, social media is effective in creating like an attachment to your brand. Do you think like that, I guess, I don't know how to really word it, for like a client using maybe celebrities to like attach your client base through social media? I don't know. I feel like social media creates more of this like followership, like through, because I feel like it makes people more closer. You know what I mean? In a way, in a sense, I guess, if that happens for, like, your magazine, or if people reply to you, I feel like maybe you can get more direct information by them tweeting back at you, if that ever happens. I'm not really sure.
So do you mean, like, we feel like it's a very, it's a very effective communication tool, and it's a way for people, it kind of breaks down that barrier. People are much more likely to ask you a question or comment on Facebook than call you or email you sometimes.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, it's effective in that way, in kind of, opening the door for whether it's your client or a reader.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I guess... Basically, if there's any more thoughts you have on, like, the future of social media and specifically magazines in the future, if you think it maybe will die, or if this is kind of like a fad thing that's going on, or if it will stick around and maybe something else, or...
No, I'm sure it will stick around. I think that people enjoy it, and I think that it's it's one of those things where even this week, like, and I've lived here a long time and I know a lot of people, but I needed a tailor. And where's the first place I would go? Well, I would obviously ask my Facebook friends, like, where
definitely.
do you go for a tailor here? And so I think it's just becoming that resource, and I think it's going to grow to be even more and more, and to the point where if you trust a magazine or a brand and they recommend something to you, I think that's super valuable.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Yeah, I think that I think it's going to continue, and I think that probably social media organizations themselves, Facebook, Twitter, are going to continue to improve to the fact where they're going to provide us, the users, with tools that we can't. That we can't say no to. They're constantly improving, and we do. We have a blog here at M3 Group, and on Tuesdays, it's something industry related.
Oh, cool.
On Thursdays, it's usually industry related, but it's a little bit more general. But on Tuesdays, it's very industry related, and Jake posts to that most often. So a lot of it will be like, here's a recent improvement that Skype made or Pinterest made, and it's all tied back to how it helps your business, not necessarily for individuals. So it's fascinating to see how, how fast they're, like, realizing that, like, hey, if we make this even more user friendly for businesses, or you know what I mean, like, what they can do.
They're gonna use it more.
Exactly. So, he's really on the forefront of this stuff. I mean, that is his job, is to stay up to date with it. I should have had you talk to him.
No, that's
I'm
okay.
Just like in the background or whatever. But
no, that's okay.
But I love the stuff he posts, because I'm like, I don't even know that they're doing that, and it is so convenient, and it's good to know for our clients and ourselves. So.
Definitely. Okay, well, if there's anything else you would like to add on the topic, you kind of hit all my questions concisely.
Good.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Not too many.
The number one thing, like I mentioned, we believe in here is integration, so I think social media is great, but I don't think it can be the only thing that you do. I think a lot of people and companies get sucked into thinking, well, this is free, so for now I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but you got to think bigger than that.
Yeah, definitely.
It definitely has to be part of a plan.
Yeah. So I think what you're saying, coming from a magazine, and print is still just, like, super important. I think it is too. Like, social media is great and how it's all free and everything, but there's only so many people, I guess, you can reach too. Because I feel like it is kind of the younger generation a little bit, like Twitter. I guess more adults are getting onto it, but people still want to, like, have that tangible, publication in their hands.
Well, and you still have to hit people when they're driving down the road on a billboard and on TV. And I think the other thing that people think is because they have their own Facebook page, they're like, oh, I get social media. But do you get it from a business standpoint? Do you have a strategy in place? Do you know, so I think that, like, I think companies get hooked on thinking that they can handle it themselves, and it's like really having an outside person, no matter what your branding or marketing need, is never going to hurt you. It's always going to help you. And so, we encourage people just to talk to us, even if they're like, oh, our intern runs our social media. And it's like, that's fantastic, but can we look at what's happening? Is it as effective as it can be?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
That look.
I know. I think what we've been talking about too is how, like, the role of even having a position of just social media is, like, so, like, prevalent now. Like, that's such a career, like,
it's so
becoming...
important. Well, and, I've only worked here for, like, 3.5 years, and we didn't have a dedicated person when I started, and he was part-time, and he's been full-time for over a year now. I mean, you just have to. You have to have a person who's dedicating their time to staying up on that stuff and actually just posting. It seems simple enough. It's not that hard to post, but
it takes time.
It takes time, and our clients need to worry about much bigger things than their Facebook page. And I mean, even as the editor, like, I originally was maintaining those pages, and it's just, you have to have someone that's their dedication. Otherwise, what was happening is I'd remember at like 10 o'clock at night and post something, and it's like, and it's like, okay, that's like the worst, like, an effective time to post and whatever. So, like, having someone dedicated to it is so important.
No, I know. I literally, at my internship, one of my duties, like, every week is to, like, do Facebook and Twitter for, like, the weekend. So we just don't even have to worry about it. But it is definitely important on content, too. Just, like, the 140 characters that you do have, like, how important content still kind of is in social media, I guess. But
well, it's funny because even though Facebook doesn't have a limit like that, I mean, they should. Someone told me the other day.
Right?
Like,
I completely agree.
He's like, if I have to click the continue button, I defriend you.
Right? Like, it's like too much.
Yeah, he's like, he says this, like, strict rules, why he only has 30 Facebook friends. It's hilarious. But, like, I'm like, so what's the criteria here? Like, how do I keep on your list? And he's like, well, never post something so long, which I never would anyway. That's not how I write, but it's just so funny because you do see things like that. And it's one thing when it's an individual, but when you see a brand or a company doing that, I'm thinking, oh my God, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like, you're losing people like crazy.
Yeah, like, no one is going to read all that. No. I'll see some Facebook posts and be like, okay, like, maybe there should be a limit on Facebook too. Like, you need to be clear and concise with what you're writing.
I think maybe.
Yeah, even social media being, because I know a lot of, like, PR, like, professionals, I guess, have started off in journalism and have transitioned over to, like, kind of this career.
I did. My degree's in journalism,
Yeah, definitely. How do you think, I guess that's helped you transition to where you are? Obviously, you're an editor, but, like, I guess in your other duties of, like, more of the PR, like, aspect that you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It helps you to always, well, first of all, write concisely, because journalists have to write very concisely. And, be inquisitive and ask questions. And the fast pace of life in an agency is very similar to life in a newspaper, so it's easier to transition.
No. I went to Pace Marketing yesterday, and I talked to Mike Nolan. Yeah, he was telling me just so much, like, writing. Like, that's all he was talking about. He's like, even though you have PR and, like, it could be all glitzy and glamorous, like, it's just all about, like, how you write and how concisely you can get your message and pitch it.
And he's a former journalist too. Well, and the other thing is, whenever I write a press release, because I still have to do that, even being in this side, we have clients and I have to pitch in and help. I come at it from a very different perspective, because it's like I receive press releases all day. So what catches my attention? What interests me? Like, that is how I can then write it. So
that's a good point.
It's never gonna hurt to have that background. And,
I know. I want to take more writing classes.
What is your major?
Communications, but I'm specializing in public relations, which is
what
good.
I did too.
Which it helps because it's definitely opened my eyes to, like, more writing, for sure. Like, I took, like, the writing for PR, and now I'm in, like, the editor's, like, class and stuff, and, like, kind of wish there was more options. I guess journalism is all writing, so I say I wish there were more writing options in my degree, but I don't know.
Yeah, but, I mean, the J School really focuses on journalism. I mean, to even get in it, you have to, like, write all these pieces. So, it's very heavily focused on
definitely. But I'm graduating in May, so I'm excited.
Cool. Yeah. What do you want, what are you looking to do?
I'm not sure yet. I've been just applying more for, like, internships around, because I'm not exactly sure, like, job-wise what I want to do. So I'm looking in, like, the DC area. There's this company, APCO Worldwide. They do, like, communication, like, all types of communication there and stuff. So I've been, like, talking to them, but honestly, I'm not that sure. Just still looking around, but I don't know.
Are you from that area, or you're
No,
from
I have connections out there. Okay. So that's kind of how I, like, started talking to them. But no, I'm from Michigan. Okay. So, I'm not really sure, though. Any advice for graduating seniors? That's one question that we've been asking people all in our class, for sure.
That's so funny. I don't know. I mean, I had an internship at the Lansing State Journal when I graduated, so I stayed here for that and did that. And so Yeah, I feel like I was a strange case because well, in a way, I was like, I always wanted to be a journalist. I was a journalist. Mm-hmm. So really, I had my biggest transition when I decided not to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And really, in a way, I'm doing it every day here because we're a unique agency where we have the publications, and that's because of my background where I focus. But yeah, I more have the like any advice like when I decided to not do that anymore.
Yeah, how did you like transition? Kind of, I guess. What sparked your interest?
Fascinating. When I was deciding to transition, it's kind of when the economy was like really bad, and I happened to be living for a brief time. I went back to my hometown, which is like an hour from here, and I was working there, and my old editor from the Lansing State Journal was in town, which is like totally random.
Yeah.
And I had coffee with her, and she had made the decision to leave newspapers after an even longer career, and I just said like, should I do it? Like I need to do something different. Like I don't want to live here anymore. And so she was like, I think your time, like you're ready to do something else. So I happened to meet Tiffany through that. She introduced me to Tiffany, and Tiffany had a public relations position open here.
Nice.
And so I kind of just made the big leap. But then right before I even started, the position for the women's magazine opened. And she's like, actually, would you mind taking that position since that's your background? And I was like, oh man, I was just trying to get away from that. But it ended up being perfect because then I could I did that, something I was super comfortable with, and then kind of got to dip my toe, a little bit into the PR world, and then kind of go from there. Yeah.
That's sweet. I feel like it just happens kind of, naturally.
And that's how it'll go for you, too. Like, if you end up in D.C., one thing will lead to another, I mean, my two best friends work for... one works for an agency still, and now one works for Redbox in Chicago. But they started at a really large agency in the Detroit area, and it literally has just one thing kind of, you know what I mean?
Happens
it wasn't
another,
some big plan.
Right.
They were like, this is where I got my entry level job, and now they have much bigger careers. And
I'm trying to shoot high, but I mean, I wouldn't be mad if I ended up in a smaller business, because I feel like I don't know. Big business, I was at DLI, and obviously that's super small. There's 3 of us, but it's kind of nice. I've felt it's a little more comfortable.
So much more when it's small like that. And my friends who worked for the big agency, it's so interesting because they were, when they started, AEs, assistant AEs, and it's so funny because here it's everyone does that. It's
right.
You know what I mean? Their responsibilities. I'm like, yep, I've done that.
Right. You learn a lot more, I guess, just from having so many responsibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see where the wind blows me.
I think I would pick where you want to live and kind of go from there.
I know. I think that's what I'm trying to do, too.
Because I really thought, I'll be a journalist no matter where it takes me. Well, when it took me back to my hometown.
Right?
No, that's not where I want to live.
That's not where I want to go either.
So it made the whole experience not great. But, being in a place where I love to live, it's okay, well,
right. Yeah, no, I definitely think that's what I want to do, hopefully. Is just, make the move and, be a little nervous because you don't know exactly what you're going to do, but...
Yeah.
Just put yourself out there.
I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem. If you need anything else, just holler. Good luck next week. I know how crazy events are.
I hope it... do you come out for the weekend?
Yeah. Good. I'll probably just be there for fun. I cover it for 100, but
oh, yeah.
I like to just observe and